Welcome to Qualified Wrestler. Today we're diving into the G1 Climax 35 and more. For more highlights like this, stay tuned. So yeah, we're going to dive into this. We got a lot of notes on specific wrestlers. We're not going to talk about everybody because obviously we know that would end up being like probably over a 30-40 minute video. This one will probably be pretty long. But we're also, this is just on the block contenders. This isn't going to be including the playoffs. This is just our thoughts on, what the matches that happened, during the block, or the wrestlers and how their performances were. And we're not going to mention any of the playoff stuff as this will be airing there and there, so no spoilers there. So the first guy we're going to be talking about Konosuke Takeshita, because he had another hell of a G1 Climax. Maybe not as good as last year. Last year's was spectacular, so it's going to be hard to kind of jump over that one, but it still had a really good one. I like that he added that lethal neck breaker. He's like snapping necks. I was like, dear God, he's killing people with this. Like that's and he did kill Gabe Kidd, unfortunately, in the first match. My pick, who ended up getting knocked out of the G1, unfortunately, with a knee injury in that match. Takeshita, though, just had a really good one. I thought he had, has just an absolutely massive arsenal of tools. He showcased many styles, high level, speed, striking, athleticism, like against ELP.
LP, watch out!
He had some, Takeshita also had some massive, powerful moves. He showcased stuff like that against Shingo Takagi and Shota Umino. Takeshita also showed some great grappling against Great O'Khan and the one and only Zack Sabre Jr.
Could not overpower the weight of Takeshita. Pendulum swings. One man wants to cover. Who's going to have it and fight him? I can't tell who has the better of it. Takeshita folding in. Not enough yet.
And he had all these different things, as you see there in the video, like little clips there, all the different things he's able to do against all the different wrestlers. And I also love the little things that he did, like when he clamped onto his mouth to get more leverage for the choke. He can only use his arm so much, so he bites his hand and starts pulling back to get more leverage. The little things this guy does, just around with his overall capability and all the different match styles, wrestlers, it's just hell of a wrestler, hell of a wrestler.
I think this guy's like the new best tournament wrestler, man. He like comes in, break necks, takes names, like you said, there's this combo at the end. He's like, it's like if Zack Sabre Jr. can do it with his feet, I'll do it with my arms, right? Just break people's necks. And man, he had like him and Shingo, man. I think that was like the top match of the tournament.
Oh yeah, that was definitely way up there.
Holy crap, they beat the crap out of each other. I had no idea who was gonna win. Like back and forth, like big moves after that. I think he had the ELP, as you mentioned. It was just like
a good one with him.
Yeah, it was just crazy. He had brought a new chicken wing submission. That was kind of cool. And then I think he did like a tombstone, and then he shows his pizza shape, picked him back up into another slam. I'm just like, holy crap! I think he did that on Shingo. I was like, what, 250 pounds?
Yeah, was that the tombstone and then into the bastard driver?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
I was like, holy crap! This is strong, man. Fuck, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's an extremely complete wrestler on so many different levels. It's absolutely mind blowing, and I can see why so many guys like Rocky Romero's obviously biased and playing a character, but Walker Stewart, the New Japan English commentary guy, always talks him up quite a bit as well. So clearly, definitely well deserved, and this is another guy who deserves a lot of probably compliments and praise for me, and I've definitely heard that is Yota Tsuji. Ooh! I felt like he wanted to showcase a little bit more depth and well-rounded skill set, and definitely switch some things up, not as repetitive. Like he didn't do Mount Tsuji all the time. He switched things up a little bit there, like using his Ultimo Guerrero background, using some of that grappling submission, leaning towards different types types of pins and submissions throughout the tournament as well, and using some of his the stuff Yave, the submission wrestling that he learned in Mexico, and also delivering some power as well. He started adding a little bit more power stuff, power moves and things like that.
He had some good rivalry matches with like Uemura, where I just beat the crap out of him. I'm like Uemura's finally gonna beat him, you know, because he kicked out of like the spear and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, at the end he lost the game, but he put up a good fight. And him and Oiwa, they kick the crap out of each other, you know, suplexes after a big slam, just like shit, like so some of these matches like he really turns it up a couple of notches, and then he had like a cool new like pin. It's like some weird like backward seatbelt where like he just like, pins him.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning. Like the Yave, you know, submissions and pins, the little things that he started adding through there, and you know, beating the crap out of each other. I don't know if like his striking like leveled up, but he added a little bit more and actually reduced his power moves here and there for specific matches and wrestled certain ways. So I like that he mixed things up a lot and, you know, really showcased a more dynamic skill set in this tournament. And talking about like a dynamic skill set, we go on to Zack Sabre Jr. This dude is a fucking maniac when it comes to. He even added new stuff like that. The trap dragon sleeper was a tremendous one, and then Yoshihashi, he did that whole pinning of the arms and everything that looked absolutely like crippling. The one you know, he made Yoshihashi tap out that he killed the Hiroki Goto with. So you know, Zack doing more and more submission stuff. He had some really tremendous matches, some really intense striking ones, and I liked his realism. His realism feels like he is very much like a real person getting hit. The way he stumbles, the way he kind of gets dizzy, you know, from stuff, the delayed reactions. It's a lot like guys reacting late to a liver kick or getting hit in the head and then their equilibrium goes off. Zack really, you know, feels that way, and I just like his overall that realism that he brings. And his skill set is extremely real. The stuff that he learns and implements, he has to train and learn all that. Like he's the most real wrestler in the business.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of like tells a story in a ring where like he's like fighting you, you know, like those taunting kicks he does at the beginning or taunting slaps. Like it feels like at the end, like the guy's like still hanging around. He's getting more pissed. He's like hitting him harder and harder. He had like a wicked match with ELP. He's like taunting with his feet and stuff. But at the end, he just like full armor belted. It was like power slam. And he's just like you just see like ELP just like die. He's like, holy crap, he's pissed, you know? This is turning into like this heated rivalry. Like at the beginning, it was like fun, it was playful. At the end, you know, he just like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, and I felt like Zack, you know, Zack kind of like Takeshita enhanced other wrestlers' performances. Like I felt like Zack really did bring something out of ELP. He brought something completely different out of Drilla Maloney. You know, something I didn't know he had, all that submission and grappling based wrestling that Maloney had. So I think he really enhanced other wrestlers. And I just like his overall resilience on things like that. It kind of reminds me of like a guy who holds onto a triangle or an armbar while he's getting power bombed in like MMA. You know, Zack had that resilience in there, you know, like he has in this vid coming up.
And this counter game is like nuts. We're like, you just counter out of nuts. Like, you're gonna punch him? Or counter with a submission, you know? Or you're gonna try to submit with a sharpshooter? Or just roll into my own submission?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, what the heck? Oh, you're gonna punch me? Like, I never seen like, you counter like the Great O'Connor. He's like, yeah!
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'll just punch out the arm really hard. I'm just like, this is a creative counter genius.
He doesn't only have 1,000 moves, he has 1,000 counters. He's like that damn video game Legends of Wrestling where they're always countering and you have to like counter back. You're like, God damn it, why does this guy counter so hard? I was like, yeah, he definitely is out of this world type of wrestler. Him and Takeshita looked phenomenal and are, I think, the best two in the world right now for how dynamic and depth they are.
Yeah, I feel like the wrestlers don't even know what he's doing. Like I remember, I think it felt like Drilla where like he's just rolling around and like and stuff. And next thing you know, he's like up, he's like you break his neck, you know. It's like you know, Joe's in the game. Next thing you know, he's like Joe's like dead. His neck's broken. It's snapped in half.
Snapping shit. Moving on from Zack Sabre Jr., an extremely technical and precise wrestler, to somebody who was kind of mentally chaotic, Sennedra. I love the enigma that he has become, though. He was probably one of my favorite wrestlers to watch in this, just because you didn't know what he was going to come out with, how he was going to wrestle. His wild outfits and his wrestling styles really fluctuated like his ring gear. It was just so dynamic. I loved the different wrestling that he brought, though, like his athleticism, sneaky, violent Sennedra in there, you know, whacking guys with, you know, his guitar and things like that. And he added some deceiving power. His power game wasn't too bad, considering I wasn't sure where it was at, because we know he's, you know, had that severe torn bicep. So he, you know, not classic Sennedra. You know, we got some classic Sennedra, but we also got some enigma.
Yeah, this guy definitely the flashiest person in the tournament. At least his entrances are hella flashy. I love this match against Evil. You know, like they're all like all hanging out. You know, all too sweet. And next thing you know, like, the fat man grabs him, and he's like, "Oh man, where do you go? We're buddies, man." And then Evil's like, you know, punching him, where the fat man's like punching him. It's like, and then you get like the drunk is out there. He like doesn't know what's going on. Drink too much alcohol. He thinks he's like the referee. He's like trying to calm everybody down, kind of thing. Evil's like, "What are you doing, you traitor?" You know, like the match is hilarious.
Sennedra needed a buddy out of House of Torture. Everybody's, you know, does what Evil wants, but Sennedra's like, oh, you know, me and Kanemaru kind of go back. Like, he helps me. He's gonna, you know, take shirts off of Marty Asami and throw him out of the ring. Like, Sennedra had so many things. Like, I love when, you know, the ref's getting up, he kicks him back over so he can cheat some more, and then he's like, oh, wait a minute, come wake up. I need you to help me now.
I think Sennedra might be the richest one out of like the whole crew, because like every time like he's need to buy a whole new guitar because he keeps smashing guitars. So like, oh man, I could buy another guitar.
He might have a discount or something. Yeah.
The guitar shop sees them like every day. I need a new guitar, man.
Now we're moving over to Shota Umino. I thought he developed a little bit of, you know, new little details to enhance his matches. Did very well at delivering maybe like a bit of a diverse collection style of moves. More so early on, I felt in there. Something I haven't really seen from him. I thought he leveled up his fighting spirit. He was even more passionate in some of these matches. He's like, oh, getting so intense and like really leveling up there quite a bit. And the intensity of the moves and the delivery of some of his stuff. Like all of a sudden, he now had a clothesline like Shingo's that I started to call throughout the tournament the Decapitator.
His best when the pressure's been on. Takagi to put the pressure even higher.
I felt that, you know, all of that emotion and passion into his moves and stuff kind of led to a lot of more emotion in certain storylines within the matches as well. So I thought he I think he performed better this year than he did last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, he reminds me of like a brawler where he just goes in there, like, he's not here to wrestle, you know, it's not do-do-do. He's gonna crap on him, he's gonna punch you in the face. He's gonna tell you to punch him in the face.
Punch me in the face.
You know, and they'll exchange and see which one goes down, you know. But like him, I think Takeshita, they had like a really good match where like Takeshita's like breaking brains, so like all outside, you know, all these like brain busters.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, my brain, like dying.
Yeah, that was a pretty tough match. Is that surprised they didn't get injured in that one. One thing though is like he never did Key in the Ignition. He regressed in some moves, added second chapter, but I was like, damn it, Key in the Ignition. I know obviously he's had parted ways with the Death Riders, but I like the way he used to do the paradigm shift or the Death Rider, and he popped the guy up and jumped down. So I was kind of like, some good things, but some things that I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite moves, Key is Ignition, so that's kind of sucks. You need to bring it back now.
Yeah, so, and then talking about, like, you know, you're talking about, like, smashing guys and things like that. We'll go on to Drillin' Maloney. He likes to smack guys. You know, you have some good notes on him that you mentioned.
Yeah, him and Umino, they were kind of going out like power slap, you know, or power brawl, you know, kick the crap out of each other. And, you know, he kind of reminds, like, people say gore, like, to me it's like Blanca, you know, he's like rolling, you know, like charging the rolling into the roll.
He should do that. He should roll before the gore and then roll out. He's like, woo!
Yeah, you know,
like,
here's a whole new move. You know, like this is not gorgeous, like a spin-a-rooney kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and I already mentioned Drilla Maloney had a really good match with Zack Sabre in the grappling that I had no idea that like that was his background or he had that in the back pocket because we've just seen him, mostly power moves, a bit of athleticism when he's a junior, and obviously the hard-hitting nature of Drilla Maloney. But I kind of had him and Bolton Oleg together as two guys who have kind of shown this improvement, especially Drilla moving up to the heavyweights for the G1. I both felt like they both added a bit of stuff. Drilla adding power and taking away athleticism. I felt like Bolton added, we obviously know his power, but I felt added a bit of athleticism. So I thought that both of them added and subtracted different things and both had solid matches throughout. I think Bolton did better than he did last year in the G1 as well. So I just wanted to mention them. They had, I just had similar thoughts based on how they performed and similarities there.
I think everybody kind of like the game plan around his finish, the gorilla killer. Like,
oh yeah.
Because like I see so many people counter. Oh, that it never landed it. Like I think it landed a couple of the first few matches, and and it was like sat down. His opponent was like gone. He's like,
well, I like that. That tells you something though. Like he has this devastating finisher, and like a fighter in MMA, like everyone wanted to watch out for Hendo's H-bomb. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what they did. Well, that's what you do. So there was a very realistic, thing that people would plan for, like on the, instead of other matches or other wrestling. The guys always pull off their finishers and things like that, and nobody game plans. They're just like, oh, I just walked into it. Like, that's what I like about New Japan. There's so many variables that these guys do. Now we're going over to another guy who can kind of strike like those guys, just in a different way. And his Mongolian chops that I can't do so hard, and then his hell stab is Great Okan. He unleashed so many ways to apply that deadly claw. How he applied it, how he countered into it or reversed into it, and things like that. For example, I liked how he used that brutal backbreaker with the claw on it. I was like, that move looks so painful and awkward as hell.
Stretching the spine over the back of Okan's for El Phantasmo. And that means LP's in for a ride here.
And classic Great Okan. He really delivered on his mat wrestling and grappling. He did a lot of that, judo flips, monkey sort of flips, and flipping guys into stuff. Like he really delivered on so many different ways.
Well, he's only got like 100 backgrounds, He knows everything.
Apparently,
Taekwondo, judo,
jiu-jitsu, Japanese, Mongolian wrestling or whatever.
But I'm really proud of my boy. Finally beat Shingo. Like
proud of your boy.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm so happy. He did it. He did a suplex like one hand where he just like his hands was hurting, so he just like did that. And he just like threw him like, oh, geez, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so like cool pop-up eliminator. I'm like, that's a cool like variation. And I really loved his like tombstone. Like usually you set up the tombstone, you do it, but he's like, you don't got time. He's like, what? And then he just like drops it really fast.
The Tenzon driver, yeah, he used that in different types of ways as well. He's finding ways to deliver that and the eliminator and the claw. He's finding ways new to implement stuff like that. So he's still growing, which is always good to see.
Wicked cool set.
Another guy who was kind of brawling and similar to Great Okan was Taichi. I felt like he was going to have, well, he did to a degree, maybe not as Cinderella Man or Cinderella run as Hiroki Goto had, but Taichi did have some really good matches, some things that really surprised me as well. He stayed in there quite a bit. He put on some really tough, grueling matches. You could just see the sweat pouring off him and some of the shots. He's like chopping guys in the neck, hard kicks, whipping the pants off. Like he landed some tough, just brutal strikes in some of his matches. And I like that he brought out some of the old moves as well from his past. Bringing back some of that old repertoire for Taichi. So I thought he had pretty good G1, kind of surprisingly.
Yeah, I think he did really well. I think a surprising victory was he beat the leader of Bullet Club, beat Finley.
Oh yeah,
you go, you old bastard.
These old guys aren't dying. They're chopping you and kicking you.
One moment I thought was hilarious, usually like, his moment is when he ripped off his pants, but that one guy like ripped off his pants and spat on him. He's like, oh boy, you dead, man. I'll kill you now.
Nobody fucking rips my pants off.
The eyes, man, the look, man, it's serious, it's on.
Serious Taichi. Next, we're moving on to a guy who has quite a beef with this next guy, or Taichi had, is Evil. He was laughing up a storm a
Yeah,
lot.
that's hilarious. You know, he grabs the guy's arms, and then the fat man comes in and like punches him. He's like, ha 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 ha. He's like, like a hell of a time. He's like cheating so hard, man. I feel kind of bad for like Suji. You know, like I think he fought him early on, and then like he beats up Evil, beats up the Trunk, and then here comes a big old fat man. He's like, oh frick, you know, beats up Batman, like a Evil game like that. And I'm like, well, how's he gonna win? He's like a mountain to fight, and the fight loses. I'm like, oh man, like
Here comes the clowns from the clown car. The water steward always talking.
so Evil, you know, last tournament, you know, when he didn't win, this was like this year. It's like, well, I'm gonna level up, we're gonna hire a fat man.
Oh yeah, he's been a game changer. Don Fall, like
Yeah,
this water now, he's hard to deal with. He's like humongous, and he's got like that thumb punch or the grenade. He's like, ugh.
And it's funny, like he just sends them, and like you see people just try to pick him up and bring it back. You know? Evil's like like laughing at
I'm pretty sure Don Fall like injured like Bolton.
Yeah.
Well, and he definitely injured him when he had him on the table and he squashed him because then he came out with that huge bandage. His back was all cut up.
Yeah,
Poor Bolton.
Poor Bolton.
He was taking them all on too. He's like, ah, and then they're always hitting. He's like, oh, jeez. Poor Bolton. Next, we're moving on to El Phantasmo. I felt he leveled up this year. Like last year, he had probably one of the best matches ever with Konosuke Takeshita. But this year, I felt he was more consistent across the board. A few power moves came to life for him, but obviously he still harnessed his amazing aerial and athleticism. One thing he showcased is one of the best matches I thought in the tournament was his grappling and submission based stuff that he was able to kind of go counter for counter and hold for hold with Zach for a bit.
No trousers. And I think El Phantasmo, being the prideful individual that he is, wants to show that he can hang with Zack Sabre Jr. and
For a bit. I was like, oh, geez, that's something, you know, that I didn't really see out of El Phantasmo too much. Kind of like Drilla. Again, Zach enhancing other guys, bringing a different style out of them, and then those guys level up, being like, yeah, well, guess what? I can do it too. So it shows another side to those guys. So, yeah, that was really cool to see ELP digging into that.
Yeah, he had a good tournament. All of his entrances got those flashy glasses. You know, please buy my products.
Oh, yeah?
And then, yeah, he had some wicked matches. Especially, I love the Takeshita one. Like last year, he had a really good one. This year, I think it might
A
be
really good one? That's one of my favorite matches.
This year, I think it might have been better. I just
Better? Yeah.
I didn't know he was gonna win. It was like, this is beat the crap out of me. I'll give you my C2, my C4, my C5.
Oh, yeah, he had a whole bunch of different variations.
Oh, you're gonna kick that one, I'll give you my C6. And Takeshi's like, what's going on? There's so many. I can't kick out. Because I should have finally died. It's just like, man, that was a good match.
I love the realism of some of these guys too, like ELP coming out in the entranceway.
Semi-main event action for the NJPW Television Champion El Phantasmo, rocking Joel Maloney.
That's just somebody reacting to lights. He's just like, what the hell, goddamn lights, I'm blinded. You know, maybe that affected him during the match, but it's just funny to see how the way the wrestlers in New Japan actually react to their surroundings. Whether it's the fans, like, you know, I remember Sennedra grabbed a bottle of water and it was empty, and he's like, what the hell? And then he walks over and a woman gives him a full one. I'm like, hey, that woman just give him a bottle of water. He's like, it was like how they're playing the surroundings, and you see that with ELP in that entrance. It's just funny how sometimes it's happy accidents happen. Another perfect segue from ELP is over to this guy, because they had their My Daddy rivalry. You're my daddy, no, you're my daddy, and Shingo ultimately became ELP's daddy for a bit. But Shingo, I thought he started off a little slow in the first couple of matches, but then he really exploded against Takeshita. That one, all of a sudden after that match, he just went to the moon. His, just striking work, devastating power moves, pulled out a lot of different stuff, a lot of different power. The Power Dragon really came to life here. One thing I really liked about Shingo is, like, he's an older guy, but his speed and explosiveness is still out of this world. He's just still flying, and the quickness of how he moves and adjusts in the ring. His foot speed, getting himself in the right spots, turning for clotheslines when they're running the ropes and shit like that, was just really impressive. He's just a really impressive body of work for the type of wrestler he is, especially being a heavier guy and being in so many wars, but still being this durable is really impressive.
Yeah, he had some great matches, especially the one against Umino. It's like they took like no sell mode. Like I'll be the crowd on you, I'll suplex you, you suplex me. We'll just take turns and be the crowd. I punch you, you no sell. You punch me, I no sell. Just kick the crap out of each other. Like,
But that's
like turn it up. Like,
But that's realistic. Sometimes in MMA, guys are decking each other and they're no selling. They're sticking their tongues out. We've seen that. So it's not unrealistic. Like when people say, "Well, that's unrealistic." Guy gets punched in the face. Well, we've seen a lot of MMA matches, and the guys are just like, "Hey, like keep hitting me more." Like Justin Gaethje, just like, "Oh, keep going." Then he gets knocked out. But it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, these guys are tough guys. And I think I saw him like pull up moves that I didn't recognize. I'm like, pull some old moves or new moves from back in the day kind of thing.
Did so.
Yeah, it's cool.
Moving on from somebody who was wanted to level up from being that is Callum Newman. I felt he added up. He moved up a level, kind of like Bolton from last year, and being in his second G1. I thought he added a different type of intensity. You mentioned that with Taichi.
Yeah, pull pants off.
Yeah, he was the guy who pulled his pants off and spit off. That's intensity. That's a different type of intensity. You're playing with fire when you're pulling other guys' pants off. Especially when the guys are in the wares. When they're in wares, they mean business.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. At the beginning of the match, he's shaking his head. Yeah, respect. And then in the match, disrespect. Hot two. He's like, he's like not doing one in the tournament. He's getting pissed off and everything. Turning up a couple notches.
Yeah, I felt like not just his character or personality was intensified, but clearly his matches were some of those hole stomping. Stomps that he had were brutal. Like some of them were stiff and just dead. And the guy's like, yeah. It's like, oh, geez. His kicks were really blunt, and some of them just nailing guys' heads off. And I felt like he showed a lot of rage, specifically against Finley, and it was probably the most. Obviously, their history kind of goes back to when it was United Empire versus the War Dogs in that big steel cage match that Newman wasn't even involved in. They just cuffed him. But I like that they carried that over. Like 2 years later, they still kept that disdain towards each other.
Yeah, like you mentioned, some of those stomps were stiff. I felt like Suji's like soul left him when he took the stomp. He's like, oh, he's like dead. Soul,
Yeah, there was some stiff ones. Other ones, like he kind of stomped, but like kind of coup de grace him off the side. But some of them were like right there. I was like, oh, geez, you can't fake that. That's hard. There's some wrestlers we didn't really go into detail with. We'll just kind of mention how we felt about like Yoshihashi. He got off to a quick start, had some good matches, but he wasn't like on the high level of some of the other ones.
I thought it was funny. He's a monk, but like he's so pissed at Ren, so they bang him. So he does got one mega bang shot in there. I'll show you stupid bastard.
Yeah, Ren Narita's another guy we didn't have really notes on because mostly he just tried to wrench people's legs. Gave him a couple of moves, had that creepy grin, tried to use his push-up bar. So I did want to mention Oiwa. I thought he had a pretty decent tournament. Had some good matches in there against like Yuya, Urimura. They were like reefing on each other's arms, kept grappling, rolling around back and forth. But I thought Oiwa, had some decent moments and solid matches in there.
I like his Mount Suji from the top, and he let it head first because the guy like dodged it.
It's just a falling body flip. It's not like Suji. Suji's is much better. You gotta make the noise. Yuya Uemura had some decent matches. I thought him and Suji had a really good one. Yeah. But mostly standard Yuya. Him and Oiwa, their names. That just turns into doing that. And Hiroshi Tanahashi, we got him in there. He had some decent matches in there. Obviously, he can't move like he used to. You can see him trying to run. He's like, my knees, I got nothing left. But he definitely tried it and put over some guys in the tournament as well.
What I thought was funny, he didn't put over David Finlay. Huh?
Yes, that's correct. He didn't put over David Finlay, and we didn't talk about him. He had an okay tournament. Like I said to you when we were discussing the tournament earlier, I thought he had one good match, a couple of okay stuff, but nothing out of this world. But that's why we didn't take a lot of notes. We take notes and dive into certain guys quite a bit here. It's really unfortunate Gabe Kidd. I thought his first match just with Takeshita was actually going really well. He showed not just brawling in his arsenal, but the speed and athleticism I was like, man, who knows how that would have went? Because that match was really going well, and that was the first match it would have been really intriguing to see how that played out. Unfortunately, he got injured. So those are our thoughts on G1 Climax. Who do you think, who was your favorite performer? What was your favorite moment or match? Let us know down in the comments below. Until next time, folks, have some heavy wrestling.